Hi, this is Hank reporting from Kyiv, and this is my update on Russian-Ukrainian war. Let's see what happened around Ukraine in the last 24 hours. Shahed drone storage destroyed. Patriot complex damaged. Russian military airfield attacked. Colombian soldiers in Ukraine. Russian tech company supplies US Air Force and NASA. Summary of Russian losses in Ukraine. As soon as I published yesterday's video, information appeared that we had hit a warehouse where Russians were storing about 400 Shaheds. They claim about 150, which they used to attack us at night, and an official statement was immediately published by General Staff. This is certainly very good news. Don't think that I want to talk only about the good, but during a war so many terrible things happen every day, and when we achieve success somewhere, it boosts morale on the eve of a difficult winter. In this video, you can see how the contents of this warehouse explode. That's all the drones that did not reach Ukraine. If earlier I said that Russians produce 6,000 drones a year, then minus 400 is less than 10%. Roughly speaking, this was their stock for a week. Let's see how much the number of air raid sirens at night changes. And this is a map showing the location of the Shahed warehouse. This is the village of Oktyabrskaya, which is located near the Russian city of Yeysk. I know this name because it's located right across the sea from my Mariupol. When as a child I went to the beach with my family and asked, "What's over the sea?" they would tell me, Yeysk. It's strange to imagine that all this red territory where I spent most of my life is now temporarily foreign. That is, we have no access to the sea, to our cities, to our homes. This never ceases to amaze me, but this is all temporary. Now some news from the other side. In this video, the Russians claim to have destroyed the Patriot system, which covered the large cities of Dnipro and Zaporizhya. The distance to the front line is about 90 kilometers. It is difficult to make out what exactly we see in the video, except that the complex fired two missiles and then was hit. Again, the video quality is terrible, and we all know how much Russians like to exaggerate their successes. Nevertheless, this is an important event, and potentially the loss of a valuable complex worth $1 billion. There are not many of them, and you remember how difficult it was for partners to single out these few complexes that cover large cities in Ukraine. Us and analysts yesterday discussed online how severe the damage could be, but this is all at the level of assumptions, and we do not have photos or videos close up, nor is there official confirmation from our general staff yet. On the map, I marked the approximate location if the information is correct. If we really have lost the Patriot system, then Dnipro and Zaporizhya are now in even greater danger. Ballistic missiles and cruise bombs, which Russia has modernized, are already flying there. If they have made such a hole in our defense, then this is very bad news and potential threat to several million residents of these two cities. Let's wait for the details, and hopefully we have something to plug this hole. Maybe the German Iris-T that we have received recently will do the job. The ball is back to us. Last night we hit the military airfield Hanska in the Republic of Adygeya. It's even further away than the base of the Shaheds. I will not waste your time on another map of Russia, it's in the south. Here in the video you can see how the base is burning in the morning after a night raid. In short, the Russian government, as always, says that they shut everything down and now they are just casually evacuating people. Jokes about the grass detonating again in Russia are already outdated, just like the nuclear threats. In fact, this airfield was listed as training one, but as you understand, during a war it automatically becomes military facility. Moreover, 57 training and combat jets were recently moved there. This satellite image showed these reinforcements on the runway. Since this is south, it's likely that missiles were launched from here at Odessa. By the way, yesterday they attacked the Odessa port again, and 6 people were killed and 10 were injured. The cargo ship Shui Spirit under the Panama flag was damaged by a ballistic attack. This is already the third foreign ship that the Russians have attacked in a Ukrainian port this week, and all the injured were port employees, civilians, not military. I hope that hitting this airfield will change the course of events in our favor. Ukrainian-American freelance journalist David Kirichenko published photos of Colombians who are fighting for Ukraine. In his Twitter thread, he describes how these brave guys are trained and cooperate with the Ukrainian military. They sign a contract for 6 months of service and receive a salary of around $3,000 to $4,000 per month, which is quite good pay for both Colombia and Ukraine. It is also interesting to read that different people come here for different reasons. Some for a high salary, and some came because of ideological convictions which, I quote, "Russia has been mercilessly attacking civilians, children, the elderly and families without considering any consequences, targeting people who had no way to defend themselves." According to one of the Colombians, there are currently about 2,000 soldiers from South America in Ukraine. I have not found any data, probably only our general staff has it, so we will take this as an information from a single source. It's also interesting to know that some of them, upon returning home to Colombia, are arrested and Maduro hands them over to Russians as mercenaries. I will leave a link to the original story in English below this video. The international community Inform Napalm published a very interesting investigation about how the American company Cooper Mountain Technologies, which is in fact a subsidiary of the Russian-sanctioned company Planar, which produces Orlan drones and electronic warfare equipment for the Russian army. Registered in Indianapolis, Cooper Mountain Technologies, which the Russians carefully concealed, supplies equipment for the US defense and space industry, namely Pacific Antenna Systems with satellite antennas for the US Navy, Compass Technology Group with sensor systems for the US Air Force, Virus Research with meteorological-grade vector network analyzers for the US Department of Defense and the US Department of Energy and NASA, NASA Joint Services Center with antennas for lunar rovers' fuel sensors. Information about this is on the NASA website. It is such a bold decision to simply create a cover company and supply equipment to the very top of the defense industry of their hypothetical enemy, which they consider the United States. The article is called "Russian tech company Planar defies sanctions as its American subsidiary supplies US Air Force and NASA." I have not finished researching it yet, and I'm posting a link to it here because it will take time. I'm telling about it here because I have not seen this material widely distributed somewhere on the internet. Perhaps the owners of the company Planar are preventing this. If you're interested in this investigation, then watch the material from the Inform Napalm in English. There are a lot of interesting things there, like government contracts and technical information. The link will be under this video. In parallel with all these events, I see that a lot of things are happening that make sense to talk about, but it is difficult to collect separate blocks for the video because this news is one-liner mostly. In 2025, Ukraine plans to create a system for regulating cryptocurrency and taxing it as ordinary currency. I still do not understand why this was not done earlier, but okay, better late than never. Searches and arrests of employees of the service that regulates the issuance of disability certificate are taking place all over the country. I have already talked about the most high-profile cases, the rest are of a smaller caliber. Today we returned the power units of the nuclear power plant to work 11 days ahead of the schedule. Our power engineers are in a hurry to prepare the country for winter. It's difficult to predict what the situation will be and how many more power plants Russia will attack, so we are doing everything possible right now. I also decided that I will publish data from the general staff on Russian losses for the past day in the outro block in my videos. It works like this. Early in the morning, all commanders receive a summary and video evidence of destroyed equipment and pass it on to the general staff of the Ukrainian army. And there they count and publish it for the public. I have studied how it works many times, and in general this information is quite accurate. To date, it has been stated that the Russian army has lost around 665,200 people wounded and killed. The figure is approximate since we do not know what the sanitary losses are due to the failure to deliver to hospitals from the battlefield, for example. At the same time, we do not publish our losses due to secrecy. The Russians should not know how many more soldiers we have and how many we have lost. This is extremely sensitive information and that we will receive after the end of the war, and it would be honest to say that this is probably the most painful, the price of the freedom. I took the time to watch the news from the USA. Hang in there, guys, in Florida. I hope you're able to ensure your safety. I wish you fortitude. This was my update on the Russian-Ukrainian war for day 960 since the start of the full-scale invasion. If you want to support this channel, all the links are below the video. Take care and I hope to see you tomorrow.